Dawn, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Additions or corrections to the minutes of our January 5th meeting?
Under the reorganization, when it talks about the vote, we should have it in there that there's a vote to cease nominations. Maybe you asked that one.
Okay.
It doesn't say that.
But we did.
But we did do it, yeah, but the minutes don't show it.
Oh,
Just show
under
it.
chairman or,
Both, well, both of them,
Yeah.
yeah. Both chairman and vice chairman.
so nominations cease?
Motion was made that nomination cease.
I believe you made them.
Yeah,
And a unanimous ballot was cast. Yeah, that's true.
because it doesn't say it was ever a vote, it's just motion.
Right, right.
That's all I have.
Okay. And the same verbiage for vice chairman.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything? Is there a motion to approve the amended minutes on today's agenda? Tom, thank you. Is there a second? Tim? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Oop, I neglected to tell you, I did get some vehicle lease quote information, so we can put that under other. Sorry about that. Don, you have something here, assignment of lien paid?
Okay, so Gordon Nielsen's office called. And we had a lien on a person, jail lien, and it was this, so that it was on their property in a house in Summer. Frank Eccles is planning on buying the property. So he paid the $475 lien. But Gordon would like an assignment of lien to make sure that the sum is taken off of that property.
So the assignment, is that the same as the release, or is it a reassignment?
Well, we will pay off the lien, but he wanted this assignment. That's something for him that wanted. So the lien is paid. It's not like a partial release or anything.
Sure.
That's good.
It should be like that.
I'll visit a little bit about our CARES funds. So we received, as I let you know earlier, before the end of the year, we received the $686,625 that we were allotted. And there was extra funds that we were to send in everything. So as of today, we received an additional $761,079.42 for a grand total that we have received of $1,447,704.42.
I'd like to take some time to thank you and your help, Don.
Fantastic.
Thank
I
you
couldn't have
very
done
much.
it without my help.
Thank you, Pam, and everybody that's
So,
That's very good of you guys.
Well, that is
That's very good
amazing.
of you guys. Chris.
What did the total was again, 1,000,004?
1,447,704.42.
Roughly 100,000 more than what our original allocation was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very good on you, don't you think, Donnie?
I absolutely do.
Thank you again, John. Keeping up on that.
do our job. Thank you.
Dylan, I didn't see you sneak in.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning. One quick thing, let's get this off the table. Is there a motion to approve this leave assignment by Tim? Is there a second? Tom, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, Dylan, thanks.
I think the only thing that I have for you guys this morning, I believe I have to bring this before you guys before I do anything. Victor Rapcook, the state attorney over in Marshall County, he was handling at least one case, if not a couple other ones for Kay towards the end of the year. And I'd just like to appoint him as a special deputy so he can keep handling those so they don't get transferred to me and I have to start all over. I think it would, for economy's sake, it would be better if he just finishes those out.
Started them so you can finish them.
Right, that was kind of my thinking. That way I don't have to get the file from him and then start from scratch. Just wanted to run that.
Yeah, I think that's good move.
Would you utilize them in the future also possibly?
Possibly, if I'm sick or gone, and he doesn't have court, and, once Kay's finally done, then he would be my backup if something were to happen.
Or she may have conflicts
Or,
too.
or she might be conflicted out of something. That way there's just a backup there that can handle things. Because I shouldn't be conflicted out of anything at this point. It would just be if I'm incapacitated for a short period of time. And he could handle those for me. I noticed the statute said that I needed the commissioner's approval before I send anything over to him.
Formal motion,
I think it says resolution.
resolution.
At least that's what the form says.
Sure. We better do it according to Hoyle then. Is that something you can draft for our auditor then?
Yeah, I'll get that drafted probably tomorrow and I'll bring it over and we can go from there.
That'd be fine.
Do you want to do it next week then? Approve the.
Will that fit the timeline?
Yeah, it should. I don't believe there's another hearing, at least on the one case that I'm aware of, at least for a little while. So, we can get that, next week should be fine.
We get it in the minutes, it's approved pending a formal resolution.
Okay.
I haven't gotten anywhere on the notary certifications for Morgan and I yet. Last week's just kind of been a whirlwind with me trying to figure out where everything's at, how to do everything, and get myself situated. But I need to get that done here soon. So, hopefully this week sometime I'll be able to go talk to the man sitting behind me to get our stamps ordered and stuff before we do the formal applications. And things like that. That's all I got, I believe. You guys have anything for me this morning?
Did you wanna look at this again, then Dylan, and hear what they give you this morning, or?
Oh, there was a couple of papers on the TIF district that Tim gave me this morning to have me look over. I honestly, at this time, I know less than you guys do on that situation.
Have you seen Kay's file?
Yeah, I've got the file sitting in the
Up
office.
Search Roebuck's catalog, so.
So I don't know if she saw those before or not.
I
Um,
don't know, maybe it's
I
been.
don't know how much she got out of my binder, but you can certainly,
Well, if there's no issues with you guys, I just like a week so I can talk to her and show her those and see if that was part of her initial, thoughts on the matter when she was here last week talking about it. Cause like I said, my level of knowledge on that whole thing is less than you guys at this point.
Well, and Tom is experienced in that, he's been through it in a previous scenario with his business, and he's very well knowledgeable, he's done a lot of research on this particular incident in terms of expenses and documenting the expenses on that.
Well, you know, they supplied us with a spreadsheet of their expenses and those that would qualify for reimbursement through the TIF. And in two forms, one, they copies of canceled checks up through 2007, which is actually previous to the TIF. And there's different K that those are permissible. And then they have a spreadsheet of those same expenses, but they don't match. I think there's double entries on the spreadsheet.
Okay.
So I went through and added all of the qualifying checks. And came up with, I don't remember, 283,000 roughly.
Okay.
And we paid some since 2007, but there's no way to correlate where some of those previous to 2007 that were included, I don't know where we're at, so.
Okay.
I'm sure they've spent, since 2007, I'm sure they've spent more than 67 odd thousand difference between those original checks and the total. If they can just give us some documentation, cancel checks like they did in the first part for that amount, I think we can resolve it.
Okay.
But right now, I don't have any, there's no way to match anything up to say, okay, well, this was paid and this wasn't, so.
Right. Okay.
And to me, canceled checks. But to me, I'd rather have seen a bill.
I
Not a
would
canceled check.
too, but yeah,
Okay.
frankly, I'd never be suspicious. I don't know if those were canceled checks, if they're written and made a photocopy. I think that's being pretty suspicious, but
Do you want to give him a copy of what you did?
you certainly can.
Yeah, what, can you make him a copy of that? It's, kind of basically what he just said,
Okay.
you know? Yeah, to me, this
Well, the
is not
tip was-
kosher.
The TIF was never originated properly, because if we were gonna do another one, I was definitely specify that one of the expenses incurred after the TIF began were allowable, not previous. And secondly, to be reimbursed, you must submit an original invoice to be reimbursed.
And should also be in a timely manner. I mean, we're gonna
Well, in 20 years, I know what. That was a little bit of a stretch, but.
Yeah, that's mine. I'm always using scratch.
Missing the stuff on, do I need the stuff that's on the back?
No, that's,
Oh, no, scratch paper.
Oh, okay.
that was just what after I kind of went through it, that was my observation. If you need more, why don't you holler at
Well, I'll,
that? You need some time to absorb that.
yeah, I need some time to absorb it, and I need time to talk to Kay as well.
Sure.
Like I said, she was handling it their last couple of weeks, and I kind of just had hands off, letting her do her thing with it.
Just got the call on, and I phoned them, and maybe they ain't good, I don't know nothing
Anything else for me this morning?
Nothing on this end, Bill.
No, I think I covered everything I had.
Any questions, you can always refer to chapter 11-9, 11-9.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in,
about.
appreciate it.
Dylan.
Okay, guys, where do I stamp these?
Oh,
Under your signature?
just leave room for me to sign anywhere you can off to the right if you.
So do you sign above here?
Thank you again.
A lot of
Know what
times.
that means already.
Okay.
That's just their conversation with the township, there's nothing to do with it.
Okay,
No, it's not binding.
not bad.
They were kind of on that tip. Is it okay if I go ahead and reimburse for that gravel from that Sitter excavating that you guys had copies of last week with the dates on it? October 20th. There's three.
$18,000 for the building, wasn't it?
Yeah, 18,303.69.
Yeah.
And then there's one from Valley Contracting. And then I know Tim Graff has one from Josh Zempel, and I never did receive that. So that way then it would whittle it down a little bit, so we're at 125,681.75.
Them are bills we know gotta be paid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that would be more comfortable paying these and having them
well, I
then.
know the spreadsheet you gave us, with our check numbers, it doesn't correlate to anything that we have on the spreadsheet, so it's how do you match anything up? What about IRS is gonna do so with auditors?
I'm concerned about our audit for us.
Well, that's why I wanna see some reason why.
Paying something that's a little bit
Right,
iffy, yeah.
have some documentation of what they're paying.
Well, at least, I mean, these bills, we know it's contracting that we've actually been done.
That's what we should have had all
Exactly.
Right.
Is there a need for them to come in and explain what the heck they sent to us? They clear the mud or no?
along. I think they just need to document more bills that they paid in, to reach that amount, and then, I guess it doesn't matter.
I guess I don't understand them sending the bills, the thing that they sent was previous. And I don't understand,
In the spreadsheet and the check said nothing after 2007.
no, because after
And then sure they
2000,
spent, 60, 70,000 since then.
but see, after 2007 is when we started doing that.
Yeah, where is that yours? That's one you're writing in, that's
Yeah,
what
this is
we
after
paid?
2014.
We didn't start paying anything for what, 2014?
14,
Yeah.
yeah.
Look at,
So in
But
between
I'm saying,
there,
where's some of those bills that we paid in 2014, the same ones the council checks were back in 2005 or 6? That's no way to match it up.
we have to pay, pull all of our bills.
and I've got them all in
Yeah.
here, but we paid.
Well, we paid.
But apparently there's some they have never submitted, because if I added up all those circle checks, it keeps more than you paid them. So,
I went to pay it, like you would.
I know, if I could recover a couple $100,000, I could recover it immediately, not 10 years later.
So both those issues today, we're putting on hold till next week.
Yeah,
Right,
get
yep.
people again.
That'd be fine.
Will you have Pam, work up a voucher for those stuff, and we'll run those through?
Yeah, those are-
Oh, yeah.
Get them.
Yeah, and that would reduce the amount that they would have to document initially and reach that.
On that other one.
I'll shoot them an email.
Yeah, now it's better.
I don't know where they go. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
These don't come up to this?
No, this one.
Oh, I see.
That one's off.
We've got our first one.
That's something that I need.
Yeah, I got one.
John, I think this does not come out of a government building, I believe this is an extension. If you can look at it. Okay. Wrong budget.
Oh, yeah.
Good to know. wrong budget.
Oh, yeah. If she wasn't here, I suppose.
There's not having the offices sign off that we get caught. We always used to have to okay the bill.
Like Joe would be doing that one.
We have to see that.
Yeah, that's amazing. That must have been a ton of carryover. For them to reallocate that much.
Yeah, explain something.
Yeah,
Like Rob said, future allocations like 97,000. The only thing I do is the police salary. Most of those towns that have a police officer, they didn't claim.
yeah.
So it all goes back, I suppose.
So the CARES funds that we receive, have we invested them in savings or just in the general checking or?
They're, well, whatever Mark's been doing, we haven't put them anywhere. We just got that 700,
Yeah.
that last one today, so it just got put in the bank this morning. So. Whatever you guys want to do with it. I did put it in a separate fund because we did that with that courthouse building insurance thing, and that's been a
mess.
But whatever you guys want to do.
We should maybe bring Mark in and visit with him about that. That's a big chunk of change. The auditor's account with the treasurer been circulated. Is there a motion to approve that?
Second.
Faye, thank you. Is there a second? Tim? Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Babe, you just get it. I didn't have it.
Like that.
Next item is the domestic abuse quarterly transfer. The amount, if approved, would be $579.87.
Well, let's see, the transfer amount is up here.
$64?
Yeah. This is what we send down to the agency, domestic abuse stuff. I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. That's what we send to them. This is the amount that the county can retain. That's what you're making your motion on.
Okay, $64.42.
You can retain 10%.
Is there a motion to approve the transfer? Faye, thank you. Second by Tom. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. You're welcome. been talking over the last couple of weeks about the condition of our staff vehicles, and about surplusing them out. And I've done a little research. We're kicking around the idea of the possibility of leasing. And I've done a little research with what it would cost to lease a new Chevy Equinox. We've got a price from Sharp Automotive with some different options, $1,000 down, $2,000 down, $3,000 down. Most of the benchmark stuff that I looked at was probably $2,000 down. The Equinox would be $328 per month, and that would allow 10,000 miles per year at $328.
For how many years?
That would be a 3-year. 36 months. And then he came back with something a little bit less. I don't know if you want to consider this or not, but it's a Chevy Trax. And they are small. But, $2,000 down. That lease is $252 per month. And then I got a quote from Billion, Chrysler Jeep. 36-month lease, 10,000 miles per year. This one has $1,325 due at signing, and that one is $325 per month with this lease protected insurance. And if you didn't take it, it would be $1,275 down at $275 per month without the unprotected. Now the lease protecting covers dings, dents, rips, tears, burns, stains, paint fade, corrosion from road salt or acid, bird waste, acid rain, tree sap. So basically $275 per month if you did not want that. And that's on a Jeep Compass.
I can just say this, on leased vehicles in the past, and, dings, dents, little scratches and stuff like that, those are all taken into consideration as normal wear and tear on a vehicle when you turn it in. So I question the need to have that $50 a month, insurance policy.
Yeah.
If you maintain it like you maintain your car, you change the oil, you're supposed to wash it, you know, when it's dirty, you rotate the tires and the likes of that. I mean, most of that stuff should be normal wear and tear, and you should be charged for it at the end of the week. In my experience,
You have $1,800 to work with if you needed to fix something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I wouldn't recommend that option, but. And then I did get a quote from Watertown, Ford, Chrysler, and they also were quoting a Jeep Compass. It's a new one, 2021. Same scenario in terms of 36 months, 10,000 miles per year. It's just slightly more down payment, $2,259 is the down, and then the monthly lease amount is $259.
That Compass, what, is that about the same size as the Trax in it? Or?
No, that's slightly larger. It's a little bit bigger.
You'd be able to get 4 adults in any one of these vehicles, you think? Or?
Probably not. The Trax would be a little on the tight side,
Okay.
but the Equinox you certainly could.
Okay.
And the Jeep Compass. The other thing that I didn't get from the other people, but I did from Watertown Ford, was that the residual, the buyout on this is just under $16,000 at the end of your lease. So given the fact that we keep these things indoors in heated garage and, very, very good maintenance.
Pretty reasonable, isn't it? I don't,
You get, you know, it'd be 3 years old with how many miles, but. Anyway, 259, that ended up, in my opinion, being kind of the best scenario of any of them.
And that's with Watertown Ford,
Watertown Ford.
and they service these things?
Well, I didn't ask, you mean about oil changes and
No,
that
no,
sort of thing? or-
But I mean,
Oh, warranty work. Yeah, there's no charge to you on that.
so it sounds like you, Jeep man.
It's definitely a good deal to me. I mean, I think that's reasonable. I like the fact that you have it 3 years. If you got any problems at all under warranty, bumper to bumper. So it's
Still,
maintenance free for the first 3 years, and it turns out to be a good vehicle. Yeah, maybe you look at the option of keeping it, or you turn it in, you leave another brand new one. So make that decision at the time. But
I think the value at the time,
sure, yeah.
his value was 20,000, which I know. Buy it out and surplus it. If you don't like, if you didn't like the vehicle, you know.
Right,
Sure.
There's options there.
right.
So this is an all-wheel drive, Dennis, or a four-wheel drive? Or?
Yeah, it'd be all-wheel drive.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Should be able to go any place to do anything with that, then.
I've never owned a Jeep until now. I have a Jeep Cherokee Limited. And, so far it's been very good. And, the employee parking lot here east of the building has got 3 Jeeps sitting in it. So,
Yeah. We own between the Dodge and the Jeep, we're going for their vehicles. I guess I would just say that stuff I was buying anyhow was, you know, they don't have all the bells and whistles, but they got what you need. So.
yeah.
so we put the other vehicles on surplus, right?
You didn't agree?
Yeah.
You have declared them, I did not get a thing written up yet for the paper.
Oh, okay.
So it will be in the paper, I'll get it done
So how long
this afternoon. 2
does
weeks.
that take them before we sell them or whatever?
Well, I advertised for 2 weeks.
Okay.
I've been busy with all this other stuff, so kind of on the back burner.
I don't anticipate.
Here, I
I
suppose
don't
we can,
anticipate get a whole lot.
oh, no, I suppose we can, have the thing on
None of that.
maybe February 9th, 2nd or 9th.
Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Whatever you can get for it, get it done.
Might have to send that info back out to the sheriff's department. Correct it.
Are we looking at 1 or 2 then?
I think to surplus or to police?
To replace?
To replace? Well, you know, I think that van has got some potential for sticking around and having some use left in it. I mean, it's a good utility vehicle to haul things if you need to. I'd like to see the 2 vehicles, the 2 cars go down the road. And that's some strong consideration to this older pickup that we've got out here. I know it would be kind of a touchy subject with Doug, but to have that thing sitting there and to pay insurance on it year after year, it's that older Chevy green pickup. It's just
I know
so-
somebody that would be interested in that.
That one would probably bring more than any of the other surplus stuff that we have. But when you start calculating, I think it's about $800 a year of liability insurance on the ones that we don't.
How much does he use that pickup? You know,
Very seldom.
Hauling out trees and yard waste and then he has books and things that need to go to the landfill.
so do we need to replace it then?
I think so.
Or do we replace it with a small trailer or something?
That's what I was gonna say, and then just give him so much to use the field.
Hook up,
Does
pull
he
it out
have to
there.
take down his pickup though?
Have a county pickup come in here.
Yeah,
think that if you kept the van, we could look at purchasing 2 cars, or just 1 car plus the van?
Well, I think we just get the one to start with and
Okay.
see what our use is. If something should happen where both vehicles are being used and we need a third one, we can always pay mileage to a staff person to use their own.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, the only thing you could have them both tied up is in the summertime when Sherry's doing her thing, I would guess, other than that, there's no would be
Yeah, and
one available, I would think.
I don't think we wanna start paying, what, 42 cents a mile? Every day that she.
Oh, no,
Oh,
no.
no, not her crew.
Not her.
Because she doesn't want to
I
use
would
her
think
own
they'd be
vehicle.
priority, because they can help.
She doesn't want to use her own vehicle
I
anyway.
wouldn't either.
No,
No.
So you're saying we should list the pickup and the 3 vehicles down there? Is that what you're saying?
No.
No.
He said the van,
I
we should
think
keep.
the van has got some life left in it. And I know we've already had formal action on surplusing them out.
Okay.
If you wanna see if we get a big bid on it, so be it. If we don't get a big bid, then we can keep it. But those two cars.
That black one's really nice.
So,
Bring your checkbook.
so we're gonna surplus,
It's a Chevy Impala, Chevy Lumina. And I really should have talked to Doug about that pickup, but
Yeah, probably.
it's,
Jim, let's see what he thinks. I think that'd be.
we use it how many times a year?
I don't know.
Couple.
I say.
And like you said, there's the highway department and stuff, like what people use. Chevy Impala, so it was Chevy Impala and Chevy,
Lumina,
okay,
for
and,
sure.
and pickup,
And a maybe on the Chevy pickup.
I think we should just get rid of it. I mean,
I agree with that, I think we should talk to Doug just to make sure, but I agree with get rid of it. Just taking up parking space.
Give my heads up before you.
Yeah,
I'd be in favor of getting rid of it, give my heads up at least. Very soon.
And if he doesn't think that the highway department can work with him, maybe we'll look into the trailer option.
sure.
Okay. All right, so do you want to move forward on leasing a Jeep Compass
I do.
Bar down 4.
at $259 a month? $22.59 down? Don is in favor of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you look for more, I'll make a motion if you're there yet.
Very good. I think that's what route that we'll go down. So there's a motion by Commissioner Carlson to pursue the lease option. Is there a second to that? Okay, thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion
Aye.
carried. Very good. I'll get in touch with him and get something started there.
They got one on top right now.
If it comes up sooner than we have room, we'll just have to park this other stuff outside. So.
Cool.
We should keep maybe a little logbook inside there on
Wow.
mileage and purpose of who's using it and things like that.
Like if you go over it, I get free spending there.
No, I don't even know what the surcharge is on that, to be honest with you. I don't think.
Probably 15 to 25 cents a mile, I would guess, somewhere in that range.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it on there.
I would.
I can't imagine we're gonna put up more than 10,000 euros.
Quite a lot. I think the key is just, again, from my own experience, if you take care of it, it's your own car, you change the oil when it's supposed to be changed, you get it aligned, you get the tires rotated and everything, you turn them in, you never get pinched.
Sounds good.
So are you going with just one vehicle?
For now, we'll do one for now and see how the program works out.
Did we hear anything from Otter Tail? I know.
Got an email on last Friday. They This is from that Michael's Energy. Sorry for the delay in updating you on the study. Maybe I should just get you guys a copy of this. He's working with a couple vendors in your area to help with the cost on the options. The hope is to get budgetary estimate costs without significant work or any on-site time by these vendors. They have the initial information I provided, but I have not responded yet with the additional information.
Okay.
So,
Because I kind of feel like it's hard to make decisions on this CARES fund money
if you don't know.
if we don't know on that. I would be leery of spending any significant amount on anything else till we know.
Yeah, that.
I'm gonna see if Mark can step in here, so.
Yeah, maybe we can maybe talk to them so that we can get it advertised and excited. Do you have an idea of how much cash applied for this next year?
I don't have that figure for you. I'll have it by the.
Next week is fine then.
Mark is taking his coffee break, so he'll be able to done.
As long as you have a couple minutes, I had a question, that employee that Sherry was looking at hiring, that part-timer, was she supposed to advertise that?
It's in the paper this week. I just,
Okay, all right, that's fine, that's
I just saw it last night.
All right, so that'll run for 2 weeks, then we can make a decision?
Yes.
Okay.
You could go around till what, 11:30 or what?
Oh, usually 10.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to,
Yeah, we've got time.
should we see if he's around?
We can run them up, yeah.
We're putting equalization doing appraisals, but how comfortable do you think people are gonna be this summer, this spring? People coming out to inspect it.
Hey Doug, are you still, are you in the
I
building?
think we got them. How many you're doing this year, the towns or what?
Especially-
Commissioners would like to
Towns,
do
Clear
something
City,
about that.
Rockford, and Clear City.
About
So,
I think you have time to come up before you go.
But I wonder, we can do all this, I understand we can do all the ag land right from the office. That would be a better project for the summer than filling out people's houses with COVID still. Good thought.
Yeah. And besides, it's more important, I think.
Well, it would be.
Yeah. And they get a bigger return on our time, I think, doing farm.
Yeah. She still would have to go out and visit the farm homes, but you get all the ag land in right from the office. And then maybe by late summer, if COVID's under control, it would start on or the farm sites or whatever. I don't know how much resistance will move if you want to go out and go through somebody's house right now.
Yeah, no, that's much, they would want you in and they wouldn't want to be in.
Well, I got a repair job that happened last winter, but I was gonna schedule it fix this summer, well, I don't have to repair people in the house, right? So,
That's just the excuse you're giving your wife that you haven't that project.
I couldn't do this one.
Oh.
what's got around?
Yeah, he'll be coming up. Yes, this is the amount of those checks.
Yeah,
But at the time that they submitted them, this was all that was in.
oh,
Yeah.
see, that's what I'm saying, that,
Hey, Doug.
yeah,
So,
We're,
that was,
doing some,
I'm just
switching
Yeah,
our
well,
old
that's why,
vehicles.
did we not,
We're gonna
did one of
switch
those not
out,
get paid or what, you know,
cars
didn't match up, I noticed it.
the Impala and that Lumina.
But, yeah, if we look check for this amount, then one of
We're
these.
gonna keep the
I
van,
thought, well, then one of these didn't, they
and then
didn't,
we're
that'll
gonna
count the
lease
difference.
a little Jeep.
yeah.
Jeep
so
Compass,
maybe-
we're gonna lease
maybe
that.
there's some reasons there.
Well, I think, you know, I can go back. and
Here's
research
the
all that.
thing.
They can just.
Thinking about selling that.
Anything, new stuff like this, they did here to equal that difference in.
And I know you use it.
They didn't have.
Use it once in a while.
Then we could do it. Whatever, man, to that.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't have to do that, they should.
Do you think if we had a trailer or a highway pickup come in, that we would use that? Because that thing's costing us about $800 a year just for liability.
Oh,
And it'll probably bring pretty good money to them, right?
Yeah, everybody walks by, everybody come like 3 or
What year is that from?
69, 8.
Whoa.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
I keep going one and it's hard to like SPT to get stuff knocking.
Doug got it going, it sat there for
Computers after.
years and wouldn't do anything, but you got it running.
No, you need to see.
But you went up and quit on us and we sold it for.
Oh, no, all up of mine.
As long as you got your $45,000 pickup, you wouldn't mind at all.
Something's right here. Yeah. Yeah, so trailer would work too,
You know, an old trailer, too, a trailer.
Handy out there.
Oh, yeah, I want to bring mine up
You've got a dump trailer though, don't you? Oh, no, yours isn't a dump trailer? Okay.
But if we, you know, got a trailer that sat there, is that something you're interested in or not?
I don't haul, so I can pull it up in my pickup, but
Right,
yeah,
they
that's
said
what
if
it
you
is.
would lean on it.
Or borrow the highway, I mean, what would you like to see?
Yeah.
Oh, I would have a more of a pickup for you.
Yeah, they got time to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's the same, yeah.
Well, I gotta pull it up. Take it to the-
Yep.
Take it to gas, get it out there. I don't go out to me once a year. Most times I pull it up every time I leave.
Yeah,
Fall.
yeah, in the spring and the fall, you use it for home.
So, winter time,
Because that's what
and then it gets started.
Yeah, and then there's books and things that you haul out to once in a while,
Yeah.
old cabinets and stuff like that.
Whenever it gets full, and
Or do they
they.
come here and then
Fill it up.
Because Dean's got a truck out of the landfill, he could come drive in stuff home and all of that stuff, this sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
They never
that
use
all
it.
I have
I didn't look up that much. Last time I drove it, it looks like
so usually you can.
it don't run.
Yeah.
It works.
All right. Thank you, Doug. Thanks, Doug. We might as well add that one to the surplus list too.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. Right. But I can just take the title and then.
So then I have a dumb question, because I've never leased a vehicle before. So then do they send you a statement,
Okay, 'cause usually I have.
monthly statement, or do you just get on a schedule?
Well, I don't know if they give you a coupon book or something that you have to send in or, or if you wanna maybe do an automatic debit or something, or
And the state.
would that be better if that's an option?
Yeah, I think so.
But I think when you pick it up, we're gonna have to have a check for $22.50 to give it up front. That's your down
Unless you
payment.
can build them in, as long as I'm here, I just don't want to drive back up here.
But I'll get to the sales guy about that. And we'll, I've never leased one either.
Or you're using this Nick?
Yeah, yeah. Or else Marty,
You want more?
yeah.
Yes.
Hey, Mark. We were just informed that there was a large COVID check that we got, that the county got.
We got 711,000.
Okay.
And where is that money going? In terms of investment or where? Maybe you haven't even had time to think about this.
No,
I
it
haven't-
just,
I haven't seen
it just came today from ACH,
Yeah.
or ACH payments.
Okay, okay.
Wendy just brought it over.
My first thought is don't get into a long-term arrangement with it. Any CDs that are out there for 1, 2, or 3 years or whatever. But if you can give it some thought before we leave today.
Okay, yeah, I can do some research on where we can put something,
So
so,
that one is gonna end up that.
yeah, I can look into that.
Very, very good. Yeah, it's quite a surprise for us to see that large of a amount. So,
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, so.
county's initial allocation was 686. We ended up with an additional 761. So, it's a big number, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just, checking with banks to see what they got available, so.
Sounds wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good luck with that.
Very problem.
All right, thank you. So. How do we know how much, oh, cash down, never mind then. 2,000 cash down. The 2,000?
2259. If we go with 259, please.
Oh, okay. Oh, you have to pay that first payment.
No, something that the update, 42 is that what it is?
That 2,000, a lot of times they make you pay for the sales tax.
You know what, there's a bunch of rebate stuff going on right now, and, I mean, his quote is 2259, and I'm gonna hold his feet to the fire on that.
I was there a problem with it, and I didn't buy it when I paid sales.
On a lease arrangement, they still charge you that?
Oh, a lot of them do, yeah, you gotta pay license and sales tax.
Well, we should be exempt at the county being off from that.
You should, yeah. But I was had an issue with that, so I'm not buying it, so why not paying sales tax? You pay sales tax, you're buying it and putting it in your lease program.
That's true.
Well, they say, well, okay, well, you're gonna have $2,000.
Yeah, that's true. Another one that gives me heartburn is that document fee that they throw in there.
They need to get paid for taking your money.
Say about a month ago, we did our 2021 list. Top of the list was savings, otter tail audit, county vehicle, savings, hazard, extenuating circumstance pay, our otter tail audit, building at the county highway, and number 5 is the county vehicle. So that got moved up on the list a little bit, but, anyway,
That might be the smallest.
yeah, that's two numbers. Yeah. So we're able to cross off a few of those things. And it's only January.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
We have no reservation, no? No, ma'am?
Well, I wonder if Pat is close by. You want to take a 5-minute break?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they
owned a Jeep Compass for a little while.
What's that?
Did you own a Jeep Compass for a little while? Amber?
What's that?
Own a Jeep Compass for a little while?
She did.
Yeah.
She loved it.
Good, good.
She's got a Cherokee now, but.
A little bit bigger, I suppose, huh?
What's that?
A little bit bigger? Okay.
But she loves her. She loved both of them.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, one thing about it is whoever gets her old cars gets low mileage.
Well taken care
The
of.
last one we traded in for her had 13,000 miles on it, was 3 years old.
Oh my goodness.
She don't drive much back and forth to work and take it on the highway.
Okay,
Otherwise, it's not driven much.
okay.
But yeah, she loves hers. I know, can't think of her name. Cheesy's wife too, she had a Compass. I think she's still got a Compass.
She's on her second one, isn't she?
Who else? Oh, hers is a Cherokee. I can't remember who else had a Compass too that we talked about, and they love it too. You feel a little cramped in there, but the gas mileage is slow. They're an awesome gas mileage. I think she was getting, even with it being fairly new, 25, 30 miles to the gallon.
Oh my gosh.
You know, four-wheel drive, and you still could go anywhere.
Yeah.
That little Compass went through so much snow, you couldn't believe it. It goes over the snow more than,
Oh, yeah.
we had this much snow at the sister-in-law's house, or my sister-in-law's house. We were out on the road. We were getting snow there. We just went right through it.
You're loud,
Yeah, it's pretty much moving really fast. Pretty afraid of COVID and it's open, so. Keeps him home even It does, yeah. It's all good.
No, we didn't talk.
Yeah, so actually, that little kind of, yeah.
The total school budget, you have to add general.
He is, yeah, she does pretty good with that.
And the breakdown would be the school. You go for,
What's Calvin gonna do? Ice fishing. Ice fishing. Oh, that was back here. So, those boys are tall and good.
holy cow, I haven't seen you for years.
Hey,
Have you? That's okay. Sometimes it's okay to do that.
Yeah, we've had so much,
but it's good you can watch them.
they've had that surgery.
Yeah.
No. Running ahead, so.
They died in Mount Rapid City this week.
Oh,
Don't pass them down, they'll keep him between me and you.
Don, are you still with us?
I am, yep, I am.
Out of sight, out of mind, but forgot about you. Pat is with us now.
Okay.
Good morning, everybody. Hello. Let's see. I got the yearly, rental rates I do for equipment. We have to look at them at the end of the year, every year. I either go up or down on my rental rates according to what it costs me for each piece of equipment. And hand these out. Don can get one. I do have one for Don if he needs one for his desk. He can pay it later, I guess.
You have another one?
Thank you.
Yep, one right here. So, you look at the equipment and, sorry about that. And I'm not, it says old, that's the price per hour that I had. $60 is the top one. I changed it to 50. On the trucks, they went down a little bit with the cost. So it went from $60 to $50 on those. If you run down a little ways, you'll see my sanders, they're $25. And then you look at the wing plows, they went down 30 to 25, some of them. And down to my loaders, I went down quite a bit on the loaders because the average between all the hours of the loaders was down a little bit, so I went down a little bit on those, on the heavy equipment. The backhoe, that was down a little bit. A lot of them went down just a little. And some of them, of course, stayed the same. So, if you want to look at through there real quick and just kind of look at it, I don't know if you want me to go through every one. What it is you need to.
I don't think you need to, but what will the effect be? I mean, how will this affect your operation? What?
It doesn't affect a lot, it's just that when we do this per hour, like our jobs per se, you have your indirect and direct cost of your man hours and stuff, and then you have your indirect and direct cost of your equipment. So everything that goes and gets charged to each equipment during the year, like oil, gas, fuel, oil, everything, tires, that just gets added up to the end of the year, and then it divides by the hours that you use it. And so that's where my cost goes up and down. If I have a piece of equipment that I don't use very much, that cost actually goes up per hour. If you use it more, your indirect costs, evens out, and then your cost is adjusted by that. And what we do is, if I have the blades, I have 3 or 4 blades, then it takes each one of those equipment in that category and it divides by the hours by each one, and it comes out to be that price. So a lot of times it's only adjusted by a few dollars. Sometimes if it's like an older piece of equipment, then it goes up.
These numbers just include like fuel and maintenance.
Yep,
not-
fuel and maintenance and tires is just general maintenance, or maybe we might have had one that had more work on an engine. That cost would be a factor too. So, like you said, your question to be answered is that's what it is. It's just a cost that it costs me for when we do our daily activities. It's not, don't put it in your head like
I have a dozer at $80 an hour, so if I go work somewhere, it's not like a contractor where you're making money on that hour. This is just what my equipment costs me per hour.
So it's all internal. What I was
Yes,
wondering is,
yes,
when you share labor, like with Bay County or
Yep.
whatever, these numbers don't come into play.
they do come into play, but when we do that, if you look, when we redo our, contract with Dick County Marshal every year, we have it specified of each one of our pieces of equipment that we're using together. We have our rental rates in there, and we take the lowest rental rate of all three. So if we have Dade County, Marshall County, Roberts County, and we have a distributor, and I have $60 an hour, and he has $50 an hour, then we go by the $50 an hour. We go by the lowest hour rate equipment. So it's fair for everybody, but we take the
Well,
lowest.
that's just it. I didn't want us charging them $50 an hour and then they charge us $70 an hour
Nope.
or something.
In our contract, we do it the same for everybody,
Okay.
and, not everybody's got a distributor on us, and then Marshall County doesn't have one.
Okay.
So, but it's just takes the lowest number. And when we redo that later, when we get together, we have it on file, the old stuff, and then we renew that every year, hopefully, so. So we need a motion just to pass the dollar round rates for the year 2021.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion? Tim, is there discussion? Good. I think I saw one that dropped.
I do have, the surplus stuff is still on here until we get a bid or until we do something with it. And I have those kind of categorized. When the new year comes, we can delete them if we do get rid of them, but, that's still advertised and stuff, so.
I just see such a great drop in on the last page, the school compressor from 130 to 40,
What was that on there?
last page.
Last page. Okay, so what that is, it's our air compressor, we use it on the road and we use it for crack seal when we blow the cracks out. That cost, because it's not used quite as much, it goes up quite a bit. There's not a lot of oil or gas or maintenance against it, and so it really is a drastic thing there.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Okay, and then every year we talk about the permits, like for annual permits for overweight and overweight. We, 2 years ago, I think we changed it from our annual permit is $300, so when the contractors that are moving equipment all year round, they're overweight and overweight, they buy a permit for every year.
Yeah.
That's $300, and then when people call in for a trip permit and they're overweight and overweight, that's $100. Overweight only is $50, overweight only is $25. So like, we lowered it a few years back with the overweight, like if they're moving houses or trailer houses, they're not very much weight. And we had a little too much money on there, they thought that 1 year for permit. So we went down to $25, which is not a big deal. And the special permits, like in spring road restrictions, we've had a problem in the past where people are hauling cattle and they want to haul out cows or cattle, calves or something that they sell in the spring and March and April. Of course, if they have it contracted or if they're going to use it, they're going to do it anyway behind their back. And what we did is the people that are honest enough to call us during road restrictions, I would charge them either $100 or $200 per trip during road restrictions, and that's kind of how we had everything set in the past year. So I didn't change the yearly one because it's up to $300 since last year, and I feel that's appropriate yet. I don't feel, some of them, not everybody's buying these permits per se either. We're just, we're fortunate enough, the ones that do a lot of work in the county, the local contractors are paying them, and not everybody is. And the statute, I'm really not sure, I mean, you can't make them get it. But people that haul equipment in and out of the county, like International, John Deere, all the big commercial people, they always get a permit every year. They go through, they call, we give them a number, and they have a permit. Cause they're commercial and they need to do it. And the local contractors, most of them are pretty honest and pretty good about it, but not everyone does it. And I guess some feel like they're the ones that are paying taxes, and they don't need to pay for a permit and run, jump on the roads and still use them. I guess that's not my deal.
Well, we're running a bit of a risk too if we get into a liability situation and the question comes up. Have you purchased a permit?
See, that's what it.
Right.
And if the answer is no, that wouldn't be good. So they're running a risk.
And they run the risk that when they get stopped for some reason and they don't have a permit, and they call me, so. But that's most of the time.
Were there any violations last year? Were any
Nope, there
violations?
wasn't any on, as far as our part, most of them are all, just other than a couple local contractors that don't pay, but.
Yeah.
So we need a motion to accept that for permits for twenty
Keeping
21.
all the fees the same.
No change.
There's not gonna be any.
Motion by Commissioner Zempel. Is there a second?
One second.
Commissioner Verbill. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll say no, motion carries.
And then, we had discussion on the snow blower when we put that wood snow blower behind the tractor on surplus.
Yeah.
And, we'll wait and see if we get bids on any of our surplus, or if anybody comes and talks to me, or you guys, or Don. We can always come up to the county yard and look over what we got on there. But the discussion was that you guys brought up to me too, was to get a couple of, quotes for a snow blower for behind the tractor.
Sure.
And I have received 2 quotes, one from Ordnance and Implement down in Beaver. And this is for a 96-inch Farm King snow blower that hooks onto the 3-point. It does have the hydraulics driven gear, and it does have a double auger, and it's got the skid shoes on the bottom, of course. And it's hydraulic hoses for the rotator and all that, so that's acceptable there. And they have $4,785 for that one at Beaver. And then also we received one from Whetstone Ag Supply down there by Wilmot. And they have the same brand name, Farm King 968 foot. And it has a hydraulic sprout rotation is what he put on here. And I guess I didn't see that till now, we put sales tax on there. I just received this because Tim got it and put it in my box. I wonder if we have to, I didn't even see that till now, he put sales tax on there, which was $218. And that brought his balance up to $5,068.25. So we're gonna have to go and maybe contact him again and see once the tax is taken
Just
off.
take the tax off.
What percent sales tax off? What percent?
That would be 4.5, but yeah, it's $218.25. So
He's still ain't gonna be the cheapest horse.
it would be $5,068.25. Take away $218.25.
50/50. No, that's not right. 5,068. What was the sales tax?
$218.25.
48.50. Oh, it'd be $35 for
Yeah, yep, that's the sale one, yeah, is for $48.50.
Horton's still cheaper.
No, oh, yeah.
Yeah, or it is.
Of course, yep,
Whetstone Ag is Wilmot.
yes. So if there's any discussion on that one, do you want me to go forward with it, or do you want me to table it, or? you
Well, we're
want-
gonna surplus out the old one, and you need to replace it.
We need to replace it, yes, it's a small
You
item,
should replace it.
so.
So if there's issues with it, we one place better than the other for addressing those issues or?
Neither one is very far away, but I believe that ordinance would have a lot, more applicable for parts.
They've got more parts than most people got.
And they're cheaper. Or-
And they are cheaper, yes. So you wanted to make, wanted me to do that, you can make a motion on that, or do what you want me to do there.
Yeah, is there a motion to approve that?
I don't wanna sit and get in a bind, I'll make the motion to stand.
We have a broken down one that we can't use.
That's, get behind, then we know if you get caught up again.
Suggestion, is there a second on that? Don?
I'd second that. I'd second that.
Thanks, thank you, Don. Any further discussion? All in favor of the purchase, signify by saying aye.
Alright,
All right.
Motion carries. All right.
Okay, thank you. The last business I have is, I have a superintendent's job is, for employment is supposed to be approved every 2 years, and our 2 years is up for my employment. We'll have a superintendent position, so I guess I feel like to be on for another 2 years if it's possible, and, we need a motion for that and a second.
Is there a motion to approve the position? Appoint Pat?
I'll take that.
Don, there's a second by Nate. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. So,
Yeah, we
You.
appreciate you solving the problems that we had this summer. That's,
Well,
the fewer phone calls we get, the fewer phone calls you get, and it's,
that's why I'm getting on the snow blowers, so don't, you're gonna let Horton snow.
Yep. but I talked to him
But I don't know
yesterday.
how long they're gonna be around there, and he just
Yeah.
said.
So, yeah, I appreciate that, and yeah, I know that's,
Yeah, I got a text or an email from Nathan Brandt from our union. And I know
Oh, okay.
we had questions about the longevity thing.
yes.
He said that's kind of something that you guys have done, so it doesn't affect the contract.
Right, I didn't think it did, but I mean, it wasn't changed in there, the wording, or I mean, the figures, so what we do at the highway, I have both the old and the new for the longevity, even though that's not, you know, we go by what you guys decided that one year was 25 cents. all
So
the way
that's
down.
something that if you guys wanna, bring that, we could bring that up next year.
Yeah, just to
but
take it out,
It's not going to
Right.
affect the contract. So
okay,
he was wondering if we could get those signed so we can.
yeah, definitely, that's what
Okay.
we needed to do, so.
I have a question, this Bill, yeah,
If you guys are okay with getting those signed, then is Jeff working today so he can sign them?
No, he's not. He's at a funeral today, but tomorrow he can do it, so I can let him know tomorrow morning and he can come up and sign it.
Okay, I'll just have him here, then he can.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, okay, is that gravel?
Yep, that's for gravel royalty, yes.
Okay. Royalty?
7,500.
It's not spelled right.
Oh, was it?
Royalties is not.
Oh, wow, Tammy wrote it up.
Top of the page.
Put it
I thought, what
in.
is that?
What was it?
Sounded it out.
I didn't see that she wrote that wrong, but yes, that's for the royalty, and then Simpsons is in there too for 16,000. That was for gravel that we got. So.
So are we
For the-
pre-buying or is it gravel?
No, that's gravel that we got crushed and we're buying it now for this year. And then we do have a truck payment this month for 40-some thousand.
What the heck?
And so Don knows too, we ended up, I kinda screwed up when we did buy it, we have the payment in January. I don't think she likes it in January very well, but that's how we ended up doing it. So that's in there this month. We
That's
have
in
about-
there too?
Yep, we have about 74,000 in bills since the end of the month, the year. So it's rolled into this year. That's all I have.
Have you started working on your projections on
Yes.
what your road work is gonna be?
Yep, I had to send in the striping already, and I have them, 25, almost 25 miles
that
more
before
of
we
chip
did.
seal.
You will be.
And I'm thinking about doing closer to 30, hopefully.
You said you
Not
saw Tyler come?
over that way.
Yeah.
Answer has to be sent in
Yeah,
so
we're
early,
ready.
we usually adjust that later at our pre-con meeting. So I have the center line that I wanna do and I have the chip seal I wanna do. And, there's no white edge line because that costs a lot, I just do center line, whether it's on chip seal or race road. So I'll have that map and I already sent it in yesterday by email. And then that goes through a process with all the counties. And then once we have our pre-con meeting later, and then we can, I'll probably be cutting back on one road and then maybe do a different one or something like that, depending on. Cause I did look yesterday after I sent it in. I had some miles on 7, which I don't think I need to do now because we will patch a little bit, but I won't need to do that whole work, I'll probably take that off anyway right away. So, cause it looked good, I guess, and I was thinking it needed a little bit different. So mainly the stuff that we're patching over this year and stuff that needed like up on 34 in the hills, that whole works needed from down by the bottom, from the intersection of Beaver Corner all the way to Summit. So we usually do that every 2 years or every 3 because the hills ask down that side. And it's really bad on Old 81 and 34 right now. But we're gonna be doing quite a bit of patching on that first. So, but sometime I mean. And then we'll get you a map and sometime here later so that we can go over some of that. Otherwise, I guess everything so far should have changed for the year as far as the paperwork and we should be all done. I'm looking for my budget from Don because I don't have the exact number in the budget. But hopefully she'll have some, this beginning of the month, so I got something to look at. I don't have my actual budget yet, so. Tammy did put down the expense, or the revenue that we did get this year on this one piece of paper, the balance what I usually get. But we haven't got that yet, so I'll wait till I get it from
I'll
the
get
board.
that to you.
And then we can put the rest together, next week or something. So. Other than that, thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
So you leave the revenue, okay.
Yes, the revenue at the start of the revenue and then the expenditure sheet that we'll have in that right away. Till we get the revenue in, for maybe the first half of January, we can
I
put
was
something
supposed to
together.
send that to Tammy yesterday.
And the only thing I was wondering about was the line item for
What's that?
the bridge money, if we should hopefully put that in the line item on that 425-1, so that that's in there. It wasn't in there last year, so we had it on a separate sheet, and we should have that in there. Because we will be paying the bills next month for the bridge, and my 20%'s gonna come out of there, so that it'd be easier for you, Don. If that line item's in there, and that when we get our 80% back, that you're gonna put that right back into that 425.
Okay, yeah.
That way, we'll keep it more straight.
It's a line item on the cash balance, but not on your balance.
Yeah, it's not on the expenditure sheet where it can go in there,
On your balance sheet. Right?
It's on the balance sheet on this one here.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
It's on here, but what I'd like to do is on the expenditure sheet. So it's 42501. The line is there, but that money's not there. So whether you gotta keep it separate from your expenditure sheet or I thought it'd be easier if it was $28.
Really hard.
I'll have to pull it up. If I
Okay, otherwise we'll have to keep it on here, but we gotta get 80%.
Yeah.
Really hard, it comes out.
However,
When I go-
Okay.
it works that way, or I thought it'd be easier if it was in the expenditure sheet. I don't know if the money is in that fund, or if it's just in a separate fund, or whatever, you just, move it however.
we'll talk about it.
Because we do have $26,000 before that should have been. We just gotta keep a hammer on those.
Yeah.
The big bill. We'll have to figure that out, I guess.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Alright, that's that. Looking for a motion for authorization to sign the labor agreement with Fence Circle. Okay, thank you, Jay. Is there a second now? Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no, motion carries.
Did we have a deadline as to when we were supposed to be back to the city with regards to that, dispatch contract?
Well, we told him sometime in January, and I thought I'd bring that up to Tyler, how he's coming with his appointments for meeting with the city. We were gonna try and combine it, but I wonder if that's trying to do too much.
I wonder if we just made them aware of the fact that we are going out and talking to these townships and cities and asking for contributions, is that what the party's saying?
Yeah, it might be worth a try. I have a
Just
feeling.
an FYI, our township got our fire department dues for this year, they went up 12%.
And what they do, Don, they call us and they get the valuation of the township. And I don't know what their formula is, what they go off of. But they get the valuation of the township. And then they do their thing, which I don't
Okay,
know.
all right, so there's, all right. But nonetheless, I mean, I don't suspect that their complaint was really the 3% that we raised our rates. It had to do more with the fact that we weren't charging anybody else. But, every year it's 7, 8, 9, but this year it's 12%. So
Okay,
we, in the future, I guess if we are going to start collecting fees from everybody else, I think we can be a little bit more demanding in what we want for increases every year from them, because they're sure.
I think I'll call Marie and ask her for how they do that.
Okay,
That's a lot, isn't it?
I thought so.
Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning.
Morning.
James, the deal administrator, is on his way
Oh,
as well. He had he wanted to show you the inmate property bags that we're taking a look at the possibility of purchasing. I had him bring one of the old ones so you could see what the old ones look like. They've been having some issues with those property falling out. The bags are getting pretty old. And so I had him call a company that he thought had kind of what he was looking for, and then they sent us a kind of a spec bag to look at. And he found it even cheaper in the area. So just wants you guys to kind of look at that, and we can talk about what that would cost.
This was before your time, that there was a time when we had some designer jeans disappear. And the county ended up buying them.
Well,
I don't know, it was $50 or $100.
This would be
Here with this bag.
yeah. It has a zipper on it versus our old ones that don't. I know one of the big problems, especially in our area, you have big puffy jackets and boots that a lot of times people come in and they just get stuffed into there, and then they end up, there's no zipper. It's just a kind of a closed flap, and everything just falls right out eventually. These have a nice zipper on them. They can attach the inmate's number right into a shoulder pocket that comes with the bag, and it would just, I think James feels like it would clean up that area of his facility. you know, there's some areas that people are frequenting through there, and it would just alleviate the problems that it's caused with some things that people say come up missing. And I did have him bring some, he was gonna bring along some numbers of what it would cost. The current inmates are at 51. I didn't have a chance to print you guys anything up. I ran up to Rossalt this morning. They had a possible arson vehicle up there, so I was up there most of the morning. I did meet with Wilmot last night, the Wilmot City Council. That's probably the biggest thing that I have to report. We talked for approximately an hour about what some of our possibilities would be, what some possibilities might look like. The point that they're at now is they want me to meet with the Wilmot School Board about the potential of that officer that would be in their community, also spending some time in the school. Because if they were to do that, there's a high potential that the school board would look at funding part of that police officer and just, making the burden on the municipality go down a little bit. When I was going through my process of campaigning, I had met with Denise Lutemeyer, the president down there, and she seemed to think that was going to be a good idea to have somebody that, and really just comes down to a logistical thing where we would have to look at, how much time would they want. In a roundabout way, I'd like the council to kind of look at if we look at hiring about budgeting for another deputy on our staff, what's that number going to have to look like? What kind of additional funds would have to come in from multiple communities to be able to say, yes, our patrol division needs another deputy. I visited with them a little bit last night, and based on some of the numbers that I talked over with Don previously, when we kind of went to Rossalt and things like that, they right around that $40 an hour. If you were to look at a contract where they were contracting time at about $40 an hour, and just to be clear, that would be that deputy's wages plus vehicle and all the expenses. I think when I took a look at a deputy's wage at about $17.60, which was the starting wage at the time, it comes with your Social Security, retirement, and health insurance comes to $49,649. And so I budgeted out for more of a $20 an hour deputy. Comes to, at 2,080 hours a year, comes to about $41,600. And then when you add in the retirement health and everything, it comes to $54,640. And then I added the approximate cost of splitting a car, or that money paying for a car every about 3 years. So the number that I ended up kind of coming to, just for you guys to kind of wrap your mind around, is about $83,000. Is what I kind of estimated it would cost for us to pay a deputy full-time wages, all their insurance and all of that, plus a new vehicle, plus all of the equipment. So
Was that number presented to the Will?
they felt like that $40 an hour mark, they had kind of thrown their way. They thought that was very reasonable.
But not based on 2,000 hours of year.
Not based on not yet. We didn't get that far. Based on that, they thought that was a very understandable mark based on, they're looking at the possibility of, they were weighing against their possibility of having to start their own police department, and they understand that they're not really equipped to go through that whole process. They understand that that the sheriff's office can take away a lot of those burdens that would just make it an uphill battle for them the whole time. I'm also going to reach out to Summit and Corona, their city councils as well, and have the same conversation with them. They liked the idea of those three communities kind of working together to maybe have somebody more in there, more designated to their area. So that's just an FYI that's kind of where that went. With that.
So did you bring up the topic of dispatch at all?
Well, in that, that's somewhat was kind of in the underlying fees of looking at having their own patrol officer designated to that area. That would essentially, kind of alleviate some of the headache of that. You'd be going from asking them for, $1,400 to asking them for, maybe
It's a good selling point.
Right.
In terms that there wouldn't be additional costs that would be
Right.
included in that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you had the conversation that something that we would be asking you if you didn't,
Right.
go down the other road or whatever. But, and I guess another follow-up question would be, are you prepared when you meet with the school board if the subject of the DARE program comes up? Because you know what kind of reputation you've got with that, Tyler.
Yeah. Yep. That would be,
And how this thing could really snowball into.
that would be my ultimate goal, I guess, really, is if they're going to put somebody into the school to have the structure of what they're doing while they're there. If they're going to be spending some of their time there, they should be, having some sort of impact in the school, and it'll impact their community. Another avenue to make it easier on that municipality is if we add that school resource officer thing in there, is a lot of the federal grants, the COP grants that come out, are specifically designed for police officers to be doing in-school education. Those kind of programs, that's the same program that started the school resource officer program at the Assistant School. A program that, for the first year, the federal government covers 75% of that wage, the next year 50%, the next year 25%, and then the fourth stage of that is for the school, in this case, to be taking on, be budgeting for that, to be taking on that responsibility. So, this isn't something that's close right now, because there's a lot of footwork to do and get around and meet with these other municipalities. I just want you guys to be aware that it is something that I'm doing and trying to get done. There's a lot of moving parts at the sheriff's office. You know, if this was a way of adding another deputy to our force, it potentially would be a huge way of us reducing the overall overtime cost. Because it is, to be absolutely frank, it is impossible to eliminate it entirely. You know, I made the schedule for this month, and you know, I'm working 10 to sometimes 12 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and it's nearly impossible for me to get the stuff done that I need to do, and I'll get better at it, and it will get easier to get those things done, and I'll get more, I'll get things done faster and quicker. But you know, right now we're doing some on-call time on Sundays just to try to alleviate some of that, and we had a mental health crisis and a pursuit that went into our jurisdiction last Sunday. So you know, they're already at their 40 hours by the time that day comes, and all of a sudden other agencies are requesting assistance. So.
Well, we've always been one deputy short, that gets a long period of time. I think we're at 5 deputies, we have 4, so we're always coming out of the hole with that to begin with. But,
Yeah.
so, yeah, if you could get half of that 5th deputy paid for by contract services and the rest by overtime, that would be huge, I think. But yeah, we understand you always have some overtime, especially with holidays, and if you got people taking off for 12 weeks of certification like that too, but yeah, we'd sure like to see that somewhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like I said, I just want you guys to know, to be aware that that's what we're working towards. You know, it sounds like I got a call from the New Effingham, a call back from the New Effingham mayor yesterday. They were gonna put some things together for me for next month, for February, and I'll be heading up there to meet with their city council as well. So.
We indicated to the city that we'd get back to them this month with regard to us reaching out to these other communities in terms of subsidizing the dispatch contract. Do you think that it's just indicating to them that we are in fact reaching out to these other entities and in the process of asking for some funding? Do you think that might be enough to appease them so they sign the contract that's in front of them, or you know?
I've made them aware that I had already reached out to Wilmot, and the direction that conversation was going to go was a lot different than just the dispatching fees potentially. And they were excited to hear. They were excited to hear that we'd already looked at, or we'd already reached out and started that process. So I would venture to say, yes. There's a good possibility that looking at that, they probably, you know, reconsider. The one thing that I was wondering about that is when it is actually that they write us that check, because that might give us a little bit more time to understand how many places we have to get around to and by when.
As soon as I send the statement out, once they've signed the contract, I can send a statement to Amber, and they usually do it that next month and in their meeting.
Okay.
So right now, we're sitting without, right now, we're sitting without a contract.
Right.
As of January 1st.
So in the day if we send out an invoice the 1st of January, we expect to pay by the end of the month, right? The entire year.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think we left the term of that contract open. I think it could be a 1, 2, or 3 year contract, I guess, right?
Yep.
And I think, you know, I think the other thing that would be, you know, beneficial in looking at that contract with them is maybe a longer term might be more beneficial, and then also looking at, you know, a percentage increase per year, you know, maybe a small incremental increase per year, just to have it accounted for in there versus coming back to them in a couple of years and asking them for another percentage increase.
Did you think it's something longer than 3 years, or?
Well, I was thinking that that 3-year mark probably would probably be a good mark.
Which was the last one was, I don't recall one prior to that, that was 3 years as well.
Was it 3 or 2?
They've been 3 years for the
They have.
last couple of them.
2?
Okay.
3.
Okay, I understand correctly.
So maybe if we go with that 3-year mark and look at, you know, what do you guys feel would be an appropriate year-over-year increase?
So the one that just expired was in force for 3 years.
Yes,
Boy, time flies.
yes, it was.
And I think that was like a 3% raise over the course of those 3 years.
3% over the course of 3 or 3% a year? 3%
Over the course of the 3-year contract.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we've been really, really frugal when we're asking them to increase every year.
Well, just for the here and now, they had their council meeting last night, so, you know, that's where they approved their bills. And unless they do a special sometime in January, they won't be meeting again until next month, so.
So they didn't talk about the
All right.
contract last night?
I didn't stick around for all of their
No.
meetings, but I don't think it was on their agenda.
They knew that I was in the process of getting around to some of those other communities. And so I thought they had said something to me about the last time they had paid it, they thought it was maybe in the fall.
Yeah, it depends on when we
Okay.
get the bill sent, but we
Okay.
can certainly get them sent out earlier.
Okay, so I think that's where they were at. They were kind of under the impression that, oh, maybe it wouldn't be coming till the fall anyway, so you have some time
No, we need to
But
have
that
the
is
new,
wrong.
we need to have the new.
Yeah, we don't wanna give them 9 months free service.
No,
No, but our contract
We can get
says
front.
payable in January, we cure,
Right,
so
yes.
it's due in January.
I mean, we could just send them an invoice for the contract we proposed to them and put a 3-year date on it and leave it set that 3% increase. That's when we bill next month.
Are you saying 3% per year, Don, or 3% at the end?
Well, no, I think what we presented to them, well, again, was a 3% increase over the previous contract, but we never put a term on it. So I mean, I guess we could say 3% a year for the next 3 years, we could say, you know, whatever we want at this point in time, I guess. 3% a year wouldn't be outrageous at all. I mean, that's a bargain, I think. But I think whatever I think the most important is get the ink on the paper. It's 3 years over, 3% over 3 years, or 3% a year for 3 years. I guess we need to get a contract with maybe your concern.
Are you able to put that together with Don, and then we'll take it up at next Tuesday's meeting?
I guess my initial thought on that is probably 1% a year, 3% over the course of 3. Is that how, would everybody agree?
I'd be comfortable with that. I'd like to see more, but I don't know. Things get fat, bugs get swatted, so.
So we figure out some of the other towns are gonna pay for 1%.
Yeah.
Cause I guess when you look at the CPI that we get from the state for us to increase our taxes, it never goes over 3%, but it hasn't been close to 3% for the last how many years? We're sitting at 1.7% last year, and I haven't gotten a new CPI for 21, so.
Maybe like 1.3 or 1.2, I believe, right, or the forecast.
So if we're at 1%, we're still under the going rate, you might say.
Yeah, we can work on that. I'll bring it right to, as soon as we get it done, I'll bring it to the mayor's office and let them know.
Do we want to review it before it goes to City Hall?
I think so.
Yeah, what?
Bring it,
Yeah, 'cause I'm
try to
sure
have
it's
it
not
done by
gonna be
next
much,
Tuesday.
it's not gonna be much different than what we currently have.
No, if it was rewritten here by District Attorney before it presented to us,
Yeah.
we just need to fill in that term, sure. Well, if we just stuck with that, we would raise it $1,500, I think, so, which is 3%, we spread that over 3 years, and it stays the way it was.
Yeah.
We just put that 3-year term in there.
I don't think they have a big issue with that. I think they just wanted us to reach out to the other communities and, you know, let them pay.
What it sounded like.
That is, I think that is all I have unless anybody has any questions for me. So, James is here, so he has a couple items, and if after James shows you these things, if this is stuff that you'd rather, me be making the decision on, just please make me aware. I just want to make sure that we're, when it comes to some of the things that might be slightly larger costs, I just want you to be aware of what we have, some of the things that we have going on.
Yeah, I think all the information you wanna bring is good, Tom.
Okay.
We make an on-site visit one time a year.
Okay.
And all the stuff that goes on there, and,
I think
feel free to bring it all on.
And to that note, I think by the time that happens this year, I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised by some of the things that are going on out there, some of the changes that we're making. Things are getting cleaned up a little bit more. We're working on a standard operating. James and I have been working on the standard operating procedure for the police officers or the departments bringing people into our facility. We are taking kind of a customer service approach. By the minute they come into our facility, they're going to be kind of they're transferring custody from them to us, and we're going to be taking them right from their patrol vehicles right into our pre-booking area, where we start the safety aspect of making sure they're patted down and things like that. Where previously they'd be just walking around the booking, they may be walking around unsecured in the booking area. We're going to be taking that. James put together a questionnaire to ask the police officer at their arrival, have there been any injuries sustained, so that we need them medically cleared prior. There's also a medical clearance for the doctor to sign if we make the decision at that time that they need to be cleared by a medical professional prior to being released to our facility. So another thing with all of us, so now we're out there with somebody that has an injury, now we have to turn around and transport them to the hospital. So we've been doing some things like that to protect ourselves, and make it a little bit easier too for the law enforcement bringing people in. Once we have that completed, I'll be meeting with the chief of police, the chief of the tribal police, and the sergeant with the highway patrol in our area, and just making them aware of our new procedures at the jail.
I'm curious on that. So if they bring a prisoner and we do not accept them into custody, they take them to the hospital ER. Who's responsible for that, Bill? Who's gonna get that bill?
As long as they don't come into the facility, we don't pay it up.
Okay.
As soon as we take them in,
And that's the
as soon
way,
as we bring them
and accept them.
Yeah,
That's why
Bring
we're
them in
trying-
is one thing, right? Where are you doing this interview, asking them?
in the garage.
in the garage.
Okay.
Before we
Have
bring,
a transferred custody, okay.
before we bring them in.
And that's why we're doing that, is because far too often a situation has happened out in the field. They get them there and they need to get rid of them. The situation gets tense, they need to get rid of them. This will give us a chance to kind of just do some real basic preliminary questions to find out if they need some sort of medical clearance. Even if it's drug related, if they have multiple drugs on board and bringing them into our facility could cause a problem for us. We'll look at having them medically cleared by a doctor, which will sign off on our paperwork saying that they are okay to be housed in the Roberts County facility.
I wonder what kind of reaction you're going to get from the city cops or the highway patrol on that.
There might be some growing pains. It's kind of one of those things where, we'll work with our correctional staff on trying to determine the incidences that are really necessary for medical attention. Because that's going to be the most important thing. We can't turn them away for a bloody knee. We can't turn them away for a bloody nose. But if you look at a nose and it's sitting sideways, and you think there might be something more going on than just a bump, they need to have them looked at. And I've been through that process with the city police department before, and we bring them up to the emergency room, and they take care of what we need to there, and then they have them medically cleared, and then we transport them back down over to the jail. So
One recent example we had officer bring somebody in, just gonna get him out of the car and bring him in booking. We went out and they said he needed assistance getting him in because he was having a hard time walking. So we took the wheelchair out. His foot was all wrapped up, so we checked his foot. He had like gangrene really bad. So they took him to the doctor. I said, now he needs to take him checked out. So they took him up to the hospital. He had to be flown out to Fargo for surgery. So it saved us. If we would have brought him into our doors, we would have had to pay for all that.
Sure.
So at that point, if it's a serious medical condition, what we'll do, if they're taken to the hospital, we'll try to give them a PR bond, and we'll run the bond paperwork up, have them fill it out, and then they're released. We come back, we do a book and release. At that point, saying if they were booked in, or officially, so it shows up for the court and stuff, but essentially it's a book and release at that point. But they don't even come to the facility.
The medical care is on them.
yes.
Might want to give Dylan a heads up on that protocol that's
Yep.
changing too.
Yep.
But I provided you guys copies of the inmate breakdown. This morning we had 51 people in as of this morning. Just a few notes on the new business side. Currently our staff is 21, including myself, and there's we have 11 male officers, 8 female officers. I would like to try at some point, maybe down the road, getting an additional 2 female officers on, because one of our shifts is heavily male versus female. So when we have a female inmate come in, we usually don't have a female working to do the search. I'd like to try to get a couple more females on that shift.
So my question here is this, are you short positions, or are you doing that just to balance the ratio?
Both. There are cases where I could try to move females around to different shifts, but it would conflict with anything else they might have going on. I've approached female officers to see if they would be willing to move into that other shift, but they always have, well, I can't do it, I have my other job, or I have kids, I can't, with this.
Okay, so you are not short positions,
I'm not short
Basically that-
positions,
okay.
but I was looking to try to just kind of balance things out a little bit more, get a couple more females on where they're needed.
Is it just the search that's would be causing the issue, or is it?
Well,
Would it be
search,
more
then,
than
anytime you have a female come into the facility, come into the reception area for a UA, you have to have a female officer go do it. And especially if somebody in reception or, not reception, but somebody, if there's not enough females in dispatch to go do it, because they can do them too, but a lot of times they're not, at night, there aren't females working, dispatch. So, it's usually that 3 to 11 shift where the female, there's just one female on that shift, and she's a lieutenant, she currently has, Friday, Saturday, and Sundays off. That's another area where we're short is on weekends on that shift on females. So if anybody does come in, there's not female on that shift. I told staff, I might just have to rearrange the shifts.
Yeah,
Make
is
it
the
work.
nurse, is the nurse.
If they object to it, then
Possible.
sure. But
I hate to see that happen.
I hate to see that happen, but
Yeah.
they would have to, we might have to make some adjustments. And that's all right.
We use our nurse in any of those scenarios? No.
Well, ideally, we would not want to use our nurse for anything for like a UA related. From the standpoint of anytime we collect anything like that, there's a high potential that they might be subpoenaed to court. And having to pay our nurse to be in the courtroom, I think we'd much rather just stick to her doing more of the medical side of things. And what James is kind of alluding to is, we're getting by, but it often, just like the deputy thing, it puts a stress on everybody when you're the only female correctional officer there. You got 2 females coming in the back door being brought in an incident, need to be patted down. You got somebody in the front of the building that needs a UA or whatever, as far as they need a female jailer to be doing that. So it's kind of one of those things that relieves a lot of stress
I could
on the team.
I could pull a female from the overnight shift and I had to move one from the 3 to 11 shift to the first shift due to some legal things with the kids. That was unavoidable. People were upset about it. I was like, hey, see if that actually the kids. So I moved her to the first shift. If I move one from the overnight or another one from the day shift to the swing shift, and that's a possibility. But if I do it from the night shift, it puts them at a loss for a female officer. So I have more females on first shift, the 7 to 3 shift, than anywhere else. So if anything, I'm gonna probably have to pull a couple from there and move them around. But again, it comes back to with their outside schedules of either other jobs or family, will it work? That's kind of what the issue I'm running into.
Show them this stuff so we can.
Oh, yeah. I have some supplies, a supply list of things we desperately need currently. We're very low on sandals and other items for the units. So I put together a spreadsheet outlining some of the items that we currently need now. Our property bags that we have, we're restoring property. Currently are these, rather older, torn, a lot of them are torn, messed up. The front just hangs like this, property goes in here. So we have a tendency of having a lot of the property fall out in the storage area. And if it's not marked or labeled, falls out, we don't lose it. I checked around with some vendors. There's a property bags that I'd like for us to have. They zip all the way up, put in the room, and have a pocket here where you can put a property list with your picture on it so you know whose stuff is whose, and property bag number. So everything stays nice and closed. Nothing is lost. And these are originally like $52, $53, something like that. The vendor we're going through, they're like 20. Pretty good cost saving there. They're originally $52.80. I can get it for $24.92 a piece, and they're listed on that spreadsheet. Like one thing that's not on there, the kitchen has requested a couple of new dish pan racks for the washer. They wanted to order this one, which I want 2 of them. These retail for $279 each. We found this one for $78. They're virtually pretty much the same. I tend to go for the cheaper one, but.
The difference here, one you're buying from a brick and mortar and the other one you're buying online, that they are savings there.
I think they're both online. It's just,
Oh, okay.
they provided me with a picture and a price of the one that they found. And doing our research, we found one that's a lot cheaper. It looks a little bit different, but it does the same job.
Same job, but it's
Probably, yeah.
Because they go on the washer. They just put pans on, they go on the washer. This is the one that they had. This is slightly different, but.
is the material the same? I mean, I don't always agree just because something is cheaper, if it's not quality.
Bags are a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't wanna buy anymore.
Yeah. Like I said, this, in our area with, most people wear, a lot of people wear boots, and you can see when he holds that up that it just kind of hangs there. And everything sits in the bottom and then it just starts to spill out.
And
Oh,
do you
no.
think things will fit in there? I mean,
Yeah.
they didn't look very wide, so.
For the
Bags.
bag?
Bags.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The last facility I worked at, we used the blue ones, and they held everything.
Okay, very good.
As far as the dish rack thing goes, let me check with the kitchen, just to get their input on it.
You know, if one is steel and the other is plastic and it's plastic break,
I know they both say they're dishwasher safe, so that's all I know.
okay.
I'll double check.
I mean, I don't mean to be picky, but just to know, so you kind of know where I'm coming from. You don't always have to bring us the cheapest thing.
Yeah.
We like it, I mean, quality also, because,
The last one. And then, he already alluded to the other point I was gonna make about policies and standard operating procedures we're working on, so.
are you ordering the stuff now, or is Kurt still involved in ordering, or what? who's-
Kurt, I think Jill will let Kurt do all the ordering, because she didn't wanna do it. I prefer to do it,
Good, thank you.
I guess so.
because like, when he gets on an ordering spree, he'll order stuff that we don't need sometimes, or order too much of something, and we're.
I think it's the boss, if whoever he says.
Doesn't have anything to do with paint cans, does it?
No, I don't have any paint on it. Just paint.
He still has plenty of paint for the jail area.
Yes, he does. The hardware store comes and buys you when they're out.
One other thing I would like to bring up too is Curtis is gonna be leaving at some point in the next few months, it sounds like. We have a CO on our day shift that would like to move into that position.
Who's that?
It's Cody Bounds.
Yeah, perfect.
And I talked to Tyler about, and Tyler said that maybe we could do them like half-time jail, half-time maintenance, but he's ready to go to maintenance whenever we say. And I think there's plenty of work around there for him to help, Curtis out with.
And that's an issue we've had in the past. Curtis is not a maintenance man. Curtis is a custodian, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He fixes very little. All he does is call people and fix stuff.
Let's be
I know that, we interviewed, Cody at one point in time for a different job, and he was doing maintenance out of one of the casinos.
We should probably be in executive session if we're going down that path.
I'm sorry, yeah.
But, I was gonna say, the list looks good to me, this was before your time, you guys, but, the city sewer, the city, water and sewer department over the years have had a heck of a time, and hand plumbing too. They're cleaning out, washcloths and bath towels out of there. So I guess back when even Jay was there, if you're gonna give an inmate 2 washcloths and 2 towels, we want them back. And then, they end up, that's flood drain had that on it, that jail.
We also started we started working on an standard operating procedure for putting people into their jail cells. Kind of a pre-inspection, so that and I've visited with Dylan about this as well. The jailer will do a pre-inspection of the jail. The inmate will sign off on the pre-inspection, and then we will do a post inspection upon departure. And any issues with that jail cell, whether it be the intercom, the doors, or anything like that, will be at that inmate's expense. And I did clear that with the state's attorney, and all he asks is that things are documented. So he'll look at that document and make sure that we're documenting the things we need, and then he can look at the possibilities of restitution, even though that can be difficult. But the possibility of restitution for anybody that's coming into our jail facility and causing property damage. So,
Yeah, well, the washcloths, I know they're entitled to snacks, but all those wrappers were going down the toilet, and it's just. Seems to me they could do without it, if that's gonna be a problem. But anyway, just wanted to give you a heads up on it.
Okay.
To me, the list looks fine. Okay.
And in my opinion, we don't need to be, these little things. We don't need,
I appreciate you having the discussion.
Paper items, yeah, dish pans, property bags, maybe the little nickel and dime stuff.
Okay.
Do what you have to do.
all right.
Yeah, thanks for being the watchdog you are, appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. We'll take care of things, and if there's anything else that comes up, I'll make sure to let you know ahead of time as those meetings come up in some of the municipalities. I'll make you aware, and if you decide to join, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah.
But I'll work with Don this week on getting that contract ready, and then we can look at it on Tuesday next week.
Sounds real good.
All right, thank you very much.
Motion for you, Tyler. Are we in, we did this week, have we been turning away tribal prisoners for whatever reason?
Have we been turning them away?
Yeah. The only reason I asked is because in a recent Shota article, they talked about, the need for new jail, and one of the reasons they claim is because they can't always find housing for the prisoners. I know that we've had some circumstances that we've turned them away for one reason or another, but I don't think we have I like to think we're not doing that on a regular basis.
The only time we really turn tribe away is when we do not have any room in our booking area due to COVID, because when people have been coming in, we keep them in quarantine for 2 or 3 days, so that fills up all of our cells up front.
Okay.
But if we do have the room, we make a determination we have the room. If they call in, if we take them, we can take them, we'll take them.
All right.
So if we're doing, but it's just mainly a lack of space issue.
It hasn't been that
In the future,
often.
could you, on your list that you find by price, then we could just put down that we're turning some away, because it's irritating to see in the newspaper when they say, that we can't find a place to house the prisoners, when I know that we're accepting the majority of the prisoners, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we're trying to get people through the quarantine process as quick as we can. Usually usually for most of us 2 or 3 days. We're even moving them down as early as 2.5 days, just to make room if we need it.
Yeah, and I know there are extenuating circumstances, I understand that, we just, the COVID thing behind it, that should be an issue, but, okay, that's all I need, appreciate it.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've gotten something on that.
You talk to me?
No. The email we got on the possible storming of the courthouse with the inauguration and so forth.
Oh.
Yeah, I did receive something similar to that. I know that
Pretty interesting.
the South Dakota Highway Patrol went out today to here. They're up there. So, yes.
You might have an interesting first month.
It might be.
Thank you, guys.
We'll deal with it.
We'll get through it.
I'm afraid you will.
Thank you, take care.
Yes.
See you next week.
Thanks again. You betcha.
And Don, I got to send, Don, I got to send you the first directory of the summit. That's all you email to.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Last thing I have is paying claims. Do you have anything before we get to that?
I do not.
Is there a motion to pay the bills? Tim?
Take it home, Timmy.
Oh, yeah, second to that motion. Any discussion on the bills? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Alright, bills are paid, thank you. Is there a motion to adjourn? Commissioner Miguel, is there a second? Don, you wanna be done?
Yeah, I do.
Hope you're feeling better.
Thank you, I am, thank you.
Have a good week, Don.
All in favor?
See you next week.
All in favor, say aye. Alright, we're done. Hey, thank you.
Put you in here.
Yep.
Yeah, it does.
Question was brought to you by the Assistant
You
Career
know, when I hit that phone in the
First Savings Bank,
It was done.
Tacoma Pond Thrift,
he had a
Wilson
Oh,
Services, Marathon Fields.
Oh, hernia surgery. Yeah.
Thanks for watching and have
I'm
a
gonna
great
start
day.
with an H.